Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel. And what's happened recently is we've had quite a few comments, quite a few inquiries about people asking about the differences between sporting guns and trap guns. So I thought it would be quite interesting to take a gun that we've already looked at and to look at its kind of brother or sister in terms of the specification of the gun, talk about some of the differences, and hopefully we can help those people, educate them and give them a bit more information. Having previously looked at the Beretta 694 Sporter, which we all know and love, it's a modern gun, it's a current gun I should say, extremely popular, a lot of great features in it. You know, there was a lot of positive feedback when we did the video from 694 owners. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at the 694 trap version and explain the differences. And what's quite interesting is over the last 10 or 15 years, maybe a bit longer, a lot of sporting shooters, particularly here in the UK, have kind of migrated over to using trap guns because of the feel, because of the balance, because of the stock dimensions. And that's not uncommon these days. So, you know, it's very much a crossover gun. Regardless of the fact that it's called a trap gun, you need to get that out of your head because these can be used for all different types of clay shooting disciplines. So what we've got here is we've got a 694 DTL stroke trap. So for those that don't know, DTL stands for down the line, which is a discipline of trap shooting. So this gun wasn't initially available when the 694 was first launched back in 2019. So it's kind of, as the ranges evolved, developed, they've brought this gun out. Initially, it was available only as a fixed choke version, 3/4 and full, and now it's available with Optima HP chokes, which we'll come on to shortly. So the first thing that strikes me when I pick this gun up is the fact that it's got a selective trigger. Now, historically, Beretta trap guns, way back from the sort of the 680s in the very early days, SO4s, ASEs, right up to sort of DT11s, I've always had a non-selective trigger. The only one I can think of which is a slight variation are the X-Trap models with the high ribs like the DT10X and the 682 Gold EX. And what they did there, it was a selective trigger, but there was a lock-off screw. Bit of boring trivia for you there. So this one, selective trigger. And straight away that says to me that this is a gun that's designed to be used for not just trap shooting, because it's giving you the versatility and the option to be able to change the barrels. Whereas, like I said, if you go back through the dawn of time, trap guns are designed to shoot bottom top, and that's why they have a non-selective trigger in most cases. This is the 694 platform, which again we've looked at, so do look at the video. An absolutely fabulous bit of kit, very current, very popular, very, you know, in fashion if you like. It's got the really smart Nissan coating with the blue bits. It's like a baby DTLM, which we've described it as before. But there are some subtle differences, and I'm going to look at them for you now. So this particular gun is 30-inch, and I'm going to start with the rib, which is an interesting place to start, but it's an important thing, so I want to talk about it. So with the Sporters, they are 10x8 tapered, have been for years. What you tend to get with a trap gun is it's usually a parallel rib. You don't tend to get tapered ribs on trap guns. I'm not entirely sure what the science behind that is. I'm sure somebody will tell me, but from my point of view, they have always been parallel, particularly on Parazzis, for example, 11mm, 10mm, something like that. And again, if we go back to some of the classic guns like the Nikos and old B25s, sometimes it was 16mm right up to 20mm. So always a wider rib than a Sporter and always parallel. So this one's 30-inch, parallel 10mm rib. Just take the barrels off. Now, 18.6 bores, which is exactly the same as the Sporter. Ventilated ribs, which is exactly the same as the Sporter, and ventilated barrels, which is exactly the same as the Sporter. Now, this is also 3-inch. Now, again, if you look at some older trap guns like Parazzis, etc., they are usually, for, you know, when it's clay targets, design models, they're usually 2 3/4 inch. So again, this says to me that this is a more modern, versatile gun that, you know, has got multiple uses rather than just trap shooting. Because if it was just designed for trap, it would probably have 2 3/4 inch chambers. Optima HP chokes, superior steel shot proof. Now, whereas with the Sporty, you get extended Optima HP chokes with the coloured bands. As standard, this DTL 694 trap model is supplied with flush chokes. I would imagine that's down to aesthetics. I couldn't be certain, because I think the idea is that whereas this gun, whereas Beretta trap guns were traditionally kind of fixed choke, 3/4 full, and all the other trap guns they've made that were multi-choke, 682X, 682 Goldie X, have always come with flush chokes. They've just kind of continued the theme with that, and that's my theory. Holes in the barrels we've seen before, that is for the B-Fast barrel weight system, which doesn't come supplied with the gun, but as the same with the Sporter, you can buy these in addition should you want to add weight to the barrels. So as you would expect with Berettas these days, it's got the, you know, expected engine turning, and also with it being the 690 platform, it utilizes, I should say, the little magnetic removal bits for the ejectors, which again we looked at in the 694 Sporter video, which is a really, really clever way of being able to remove your ejectors from a maintenance point of view. Now, barrel weight is interesting. We've got 1540 in a 30-inch barrel, which you would argue is a little bit on the heavy side, but again, as it's kind of designed as a trap gun, it's, you know, it's spec'd out as a trap gun. You would have slightly heavier barrels just to control the movement of the gun as you're pulling through the target. Typically, if you had a 30-inch Sporter version, I would imagine they're maybe 50, 60 grams lighter, something like that, just to put things into perspective. This big paddle top lever we've seen before, you know, it's very similar to a DT11. That is one of the comparisons that people kind of make. It is a different gun completely, but, you know, it's easy to look at certain parts of this gun and to compare them and to, you know, to make those comparisons. Now, for me, a lot of the difference with a trap gun and a Sporter is in the stock. And this is where it gets a little bit boring. This is where we start talking about figures and specifications and dimensions. Now, if you have a 694 Sporter, out the box, the dimensions of the stock. So when we talk about dimensions, we give the two numbers. The first number pertains to the dropper comb, and the second number pertains to the dropper heel. So on a Sporter, typically it's 35mm dropper comb and 55mm dropper heel, so 20mm of drop. With a trap gun, it's usually about half that. So what you've got on a trap gun like this 694, you've got a 10mm drop. So what you've actually got here is 35/45 when the comb is flat, and obviously you've then got the adjustment. This is the B-Fast adjustable comb. So what I will do is I'll just get the little tool out and show you how to adjust the comb. We'll move on to the box of goodies shortly. So in terms of adjusting the adjustable comb, you get a little T-bar Allen key, slacken off your grub screws, and you'll feel the comb come loose, and it will just literally pop off like that. So with the B-Fast system, should you want to change the windage, you just slacken these screws off and move them left to right, right to left, whatever you want to do. And in terms of the height, not only can you just tighten it up against the posts, but you also get a little series of black and white spacers, like polos, okay? And they go on there as well. So if you look at that, you've probably got a good 10, 12mm of adjustment maybe. So if you're a taller guy or a tall lady with a long neck and you need a, you know, a high stock, this should be something you look at, because not only have you got the minimal drop, you only got 10mm drop with it being a trap gun, but also it's higher than the Sport in the first place, and there's a lot of adjustment. You know, I shoot quite a high comb and I can adjust one of these comfortably to get a good sight picture and to be able to shoot it. So continuing the B-Fast theme, we have got the stock weights as you get with all 694, 692, DTLs, etc., to enable you to balance the stock accordingly in order of the requirement of the shotgun user. Now, the wood itself is typical of what you would get on a competition gun. It's very straight through the head. It's very strong, very nicely figured. Beretta class this is 2.5, class 2.5 plus grade European walnut. And to finish off, you've got a standard 18mm microcore recoil pad. Case in point, the pads on the trap guns are slightly different to the Sporters, I think, because of the screw holes. So just be aware of that if you want to play around with them and change them, vice versa. Now, one of the interesting point is, although this gun has got a palm swell, like the 694 Sporter, it's much, much tighter in the radius. So it enables that the hand position, the hand to go further up the neck of the stock. Like I said, again, that suits certain people, depending on your style requirements. But this is a gun that is absolutely, regardless of the fact it's called a trap gun, suitable for sporting shooting, game shooting. And like I said, if you need a higher comb, then you should definitely look at not just this, but look at a trap gun, because 9 times out of 10, That's what you need in terms of getting the correct comb height. And also, let's not forget, we're going to do a video on adjustable combs and how to set them up. If you're on this particular stock, if your head is here and if your head is here, there's only 10 mm of difference. Like I said, the margin for variation is less, and it makes it more consistent in terms of a gun mount and a gun fit position. I hope that makes sense. So in terms of the forend, as you would expect with the trap gun, it's a beaver tail forend. This is like a semi beaver tail. It's not a huge, big, fat, chunky thing like an MK38. But again, the idea behind that is, you know, to get you a more steady hold for DTL, for trap shooting, for whatever. I really like beaver tail forend anyway. This is a nice shape. And in terms of the mechanics of it, it is the self-adjusting one. Likewise, we looked at the 694 Sporter. So this 30-inch example weighs 8 pounds 5 ounces, and it feels really, really nice. I like the tighter radius. Obviously, I like the higher cone because I'm tall. You know, it's a real good gun in terms of a crossover. You could buy this for shooting sporting, and then occasionally, should the urge take you, you can go and shoot some trap. No problem whatsoever. You could shoot high pheasants with it. It is a very, I hate using the word versatile, but it's a really versatile shotgun. Now, as you would expect, again, alongside the 694, you do get a nice case with a box of goodies. So we've got the Allen key, which adjusts the comb accordingly, which we've already looked at. There's your B-Fast weights, which they are classed as B-Fast wads, which go into the back of the stock. So currently, I would say we've got a couple of weights in there because there's 2 there. Along with the bigger ones, you get 20 and 40 grams. Screwdriver to adjust the trigger. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This trigger adjustment is exactly the same as a 682 Goldie or a EELL Sporter, which is another gun we've done a review on. All as you simply do is slacken the screw in the middle of the trigger off with your natty little screwdriver, and there's 3 positions. Take the screw all the way out, move the trigger to your desired position, pop the screw back in. It is as simple as that. So in the box, it's a standard silver case. We've got 694, we've got the stop bolt tool. If you watch the channel from the start, you know exactly what that's for, so I won't explain. You've got your flush fit Optima chokes with, Optima HP choke, sorry, with your choke key. You've got a bottle of genuine Beretta oil. And again, from a package point of view, from a presentation, it's very nicely put together. But I think the thing with the 694, and you know, by all means, do watch the Sporter video, do watch this one, listen to the differences, the dimensions, make the comparison. It's a superb all-round gun. You can do a lot of stuff with it. It's a very user-friendly piece of kit. It's reasonably priced. I don't like to talk about prices, but it's kind of a mid-range gun in terms of money, and you can do an awful lot with it. It's a great bit of kit. I'm sure it's been a huge success story for Beretta. We may look at another 694 on the channel. For example, they do a Monte Carlo stock one with a step rib. They also do a skeet gun. I've heard rumors for a long time now there may even be a black edition one, in line with the 692 black edition that Beretta manufactured a few years ago. But if you're looking at taking up the sport of clay shooting, you want a mid-range gun that will do absolutely everything, be nice and smooth to shoot, feel good in the hand, you know, nicely balanced, lots of little toys you can play around with for the fine-tuning point of view. Check out the Beretta 694. If you've got any questions about the 694, please comment below. Don't forget to check out the website. Don't forget to like and subscribe. From Matthew Morgan at Eastfield Gunroom, I'm off to get my New Year haircut. See you soon. Cheers.